Hello, my friends. I know Kay, you don't like me. Do not comment. Don't subscribe at all. Please support me. I can make new stories for you. Once upon a time, in a small Swedish village, there was a house at the end of a long lane. It was called Villa Villekulla, and it was unlike any other house in the village. It was bright and cheerful, with a big garden full of flowers and trees. But the most unusual thing about this house was its resident, a little girl named Pippi Longstocking. Pippi was no ordinary girl. She was 9 years old, with bright red hair that stuck out in braids, a freckled face, and eyes that sparkled with mischief. She lived all alone in Villa Villekulla, except for her two best friends, a monkey named Mr. Nilsson and a horse that she kept on her porch. Pippi's father was a sea captain who had disappeared during one of his voyages, and her mother had passed away when she was very young. But Pippi never felt lonely. She was strong, brave, and independent, and she had a wild imagination that kept her entertained. Pippi's neighbors were a brother and sister named Tommy and Annika. They were well-behaved children who lived in a neat little house with their parents. One day, they noticed a strange new girl who had moved into Villa Villekulla. Curious, they decided to introduce themselves. "Hello," said Tommy. "I'm Tommy, and this is my sister Annika. What's your name?" "Pippi Longstocking," she replied with a grin. "What's yours?" Tommy and Annika giggled. They had never met anyone quite like Pippi before. "We just told you our names," said Annika. "What are you doing here all alone?" "I'm not alone," Pippi said, pointing to Mr. Nilsson, who was sitting on her shoulder. "I've got Mr. Nilsson and my horse, and all my friends in my imagination. Want to come inside and see?" Tommy and Annika were thrilled. They followed Pippi into her house, which was full of strange and wonderful things. There were maps of far-off lands, treasures from her father's voyages, and even a chest full of gold coins. Pippi told them stories of her adventures, from sailing the 7 seas to fighting pirates. As the days passed, Tommy and Annika spent more and more time with Pippi. They had picnics in her garden, played games, and listened to her fantastic tales. Pippi taught them how to stand on their heads, walk on their hands, and even how to bake cookies that looked like animals. They had so much fun that they wished they could stay at Villa Villekulla forever. But not everyone in the village was happy about Pippi's presence. Some of the adults thought she was too wild and unruly. They didn't like that she lived alone or that she did things her own way. One day, 2 policemen came to Villa Villekulla to take Pippi away to an orphanage. Pippi, however, was not easily intimidated. When the policemen tried to take her, she simply picked them up, one in each hand, and set them down outside her gate. "I appreciate your concern," she said politely, "but I'm perfectly fine here with Mr. Nilsson and my horse." The policeman left, bewildered and defeated. Pippi's strength and independence won her the admiration of Tommy and Annika, and even some of the skeptical villagers began to see her in a new light. Pippi continued to live her life in Villa Villekulla, always ready for a new adventure. She taught Tommy and Annika the value of courage and imagination, and they, in turn, brought a bit of normalcy and companionship to her life. Together, they proved that friendship and acceptance could come in the most unexpected forms. And so, Pippi Longstocking, the strongest and most spirited girl in the world, lived happily ever after in her beloved Villa Villekulla.
Hello, my children. I'm your author, Sand Angel. If you want to make any storybook of your choice, please subscribe me and write the name of the story in the comment. Next store will be of your choice.